For those that would like to join me, please bow your head. Gracious Father, we thank you for this opportunity we have to serve the citizens of Saginaw. We ask you to be with all our employees and keeping them safe and in your will with all our citizens. Guide us tonight as we go about doing the job of governing this city. We ask this in your name. Amen. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Milne. Here. Councilmember Tibbs. Councilmember Bench. Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Here. Councilmember Moore. Councilmember Bryant. Councilmember Balls. Councilmember Humphreys is excused. And Mayor Browning. Here. We have 8 members here and 1 excused.
And before we go further, the audience, please remain quiet and refrain from speaking during the council meeting. Also, you'll see us pull out our electronic devices right now, making sure that ours at the table here are turned down. If you would do the same for us, we certainly would appreciate that. And Madam Clerk, that takes us to announcements.
Thank you, Mayor. For Halloween safety, Tuesday, October 31st, Waste Management will begin their collecting of refuse at 6 o'clock a.m. to ensure that residential collection trucks are off the roads in advance of the city's trick-or-treat hours of 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. And tonight we have a proclamation designating October 22nd through the 28th of 2017 as Pro Bono Week in the city of Saginaw.
And we have Attorney Dan Strejka, is that correct? If you'd step up to the podium for me, please. It is with great pleasure and honor that I read this proclamation and present it to you. Proclamation. Whereas access to justice is a fundamental and essential right to a democratic society. However, countless citizens cannot afford the legal representation that they need to protect their lives, property, and natural liberties. And whereas each year, volunteer attorneys donate thousands of hours of pro bono time and expert knowledge in these vulnerable to these vulnerable populations. The valuable contributions to pro bono attorneys help to ensure and protect a just society for every citizen. And whereas a few other professionals are in a position to offer this specialized assistance and is doing so, these volunteer attorneys substantially enhance the distribution of justice and equality throughout our community. And whereas the Saginaw Bar Association is joining with the American Bar Association to designate October 22nd through the 28th, 2017 as National Pro Bono Week, and to highlight the need for pro bono services during these challenging economic times. During this week, we celebrate the outstanding work of pro bono lawyers who volunteer their services throughout the year. And whereas the energy generated by the pro bono celebration is a powerful force that helps to build a just legal system that will result in equal access to justice for all. We support the efforts to ensure all people receive adequate representation and protection in the legal system regardless of their economic standings. Now therefore be resolved that I, Dennis D. Browning, Mayor of the City of Saginaw, here proclaim October 22nd through 28th, 2017 as Pro Bono Week in the City of Saginaw, and urge all citizens of Saginaw to recognize the contributions of pro bono work in our community. We recognize this generous effort and the pro bono lawyers who serve our communities, strengthen our justice system, and support the rule of law. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Saginaw to be affixed this 23rd day of October in the year of our Lord, the Lord, 2017. Signed, Dennis D. Browning, Mayor. Council members, Mayor Pro Tem Floyd Clark. Council members, Michael D. Balls, Annie Bench, Clint Bryant, John Humphreys, John Milne, Brenda F. Moore, and Damon L. Tibbs, and our city manager, Timothy Morales. Congratulations, and if you'll come up and start shaking hands here.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. On behalf of the Saginaw County Bar Association, of which I'm the Vice President, the Pro Bono Committee, and Legal Services of Eastern Michigan, where I'm a board member, I thank you for the proclamation. I also want to specifically thank Mayor Pro Tem Clark and Councilmember Humphreys, as they are part of the Pro Bono program and are on the honor roll for the the Pro Bono luncheon this year. Just to give you some specific information about the Pro Bono program, specifically through Legal Services of Eastern Michigan, I had Marilyn Hackett, the Pro Bono coordinator there, give me some information. There are approximately 130 active members of the Saginaw County Bar Association who help low-income individuals, and in the last 12 months they have closed 462 hours of pro bono time. That doesn't include cases that are ongoing and cases that aren't reported to Legal Services of Eastern Michigan. The dollar value of the services provided is estimated at $115,000. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Here we have one more proclamation. It's recognizing the 50th anniversary of the Saginaw Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay, and we have members of them with us. Why don't you have them join you up at the podium? We're going to make you come right up to the podium, please. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Whereas the Saginaw Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated will celebrate its 50th anniversary on Saturday, October 28, 2017, with a red carpet gala to honor its chapter members and salute those trailblazing efforts which began October 28, 1967. And whereas the Saginaw Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was chartered in October of 1967 by a vibrant group of dedicated women from the Saginaw area. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded on Christian principles and has an international membership of over 300,000 college-educated women with over 940 collegiate and alumni chapters located in the United States, Bahamas, Bermuda, England, Germany, Japan, and South Korea. And whereas the Saginaw Alumni Chapter sponsors the annual Thelma Poston Golf Classic and other community-supported fundraising events each year, that has allowed the Saginaw Chapter to award approximately $160,000 in financial assistance to high school seniors throughout the Great Lakes Bay region. And whereas the Saginaw Alumni Chapter has mentored hundreds of young ladies since 1980 through the Dell Spirit Youth Group. The Dell Spirit Youth group is engaged in various community service projects and cultural experiences, including Habitat for Humanity, Go Red for Women's Healthy Hearts, Black Nurses Associations of Saginaw, and Power Play. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Dennis D. Browning, Mayor of the City of Saginaw, on behalf of my fellow council members, do hereby acknowledge the Saginaw Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for its many contributions towards the betterment of the Saginaw community. We congratulate the members of this great organization on the memorable occasion of their 50th anniversary. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Saginaw to be affixed on this 23rd day of October in the year of our Lord 2017. Signed, Dennis D. Browning, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Floyd Clark, Council Members Michael D. Balls, Annie Bench, Clint Bryant, John Humphreys, John Milne, Brenda F. Moore, and Damon L. Tibbs, and our City Manager Timothy Morales. Congratulations. Ladies, would you come up and shake our hands, please? We're going to make you all come up. Come on. You're all looking so nice, I'll make you all come up. You're welcome. Well, we'll wait for everybody to get back. Watch your step.
On behalf of the Sisterhood of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Saginaw Alumni Chapter, I'm Sylvia McAfee, the president, presently serving our sisterhood. We appreciate the honor of receiving this proclamation from the city, and on behalf of my sisterhood, we thank you. And just, we're in the community. When you see the red and the white, we're in the community. We've been serving for 50 years, and we do good work, and we thank you for acknowledging the work that we have done in the community. So thank you again. You're very welcome. And Mayor, we have no personal appearances this evening, so that takes us to remarks of council.
And since we have no personal appearances, it's the council's pleasure to skip council remarks. Oh, never mind. Okay, starting tonight with Councilman Von Tibbs. You're first.
Oh, was that a head fake?
Pretty good one.
Yeah. I don't know where to start. Well, I'll start with thanking Mayor Pro Tem Floyd Clark for representing the city in our sister city in Japan. Where you got back that you did an exceptional job. You're very collegial and respectful, and I just want to thank you for your service on that. I'm sure that was a big sacrifice for you and your family. Tell Diane I say thank you too. There was I think a news article about the pollinator project. Oh, before I do that, I want to thank Delta Sigma Theta for their service. I think as far as sororities and fraternities, they're just as important as our churches in our community, and they might be doesn't get the attention that they probably deserve, but you don't ask for it either. So thank you for your service. I have several family members that are members of Delta Sigma Theta. Probably unfortunately I married a AKA, and but don't hold that against me. And myself, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, so I know how important our fraternity is to our community. And I'd like to thank the Saginaw County Bar. You guys do great work for our community. And we have, 3 members of the bar on our city council. So hopefully we add some value to the city and its governance. So thank you, Bar, for your dedication to the city. I guess what I wanted to mention was the pollinator project. They were receiving a lot of favorable comments about what they've been doing for the city, and from everything I've seen, it's been great. So I just wanted to thank them, and I was hoping that the city manager would consider having them do an update. I know the vacant lots have been an issue for our city for quite some time, and I know the pollinator project is an effort to quell some of those concerns. So I thought maybe possibly an update as far as where we were, what the project has done for the city, and what was left and what the city would be doing to address what was left in that endeavor. But I want to definitely thank the individuals for the Pollinator Project. Have been doing great work for our city. There's two legislative issues that are before us that I think are pretty impactful to our city, and I'd like our residents to possibly consider reading up on those two issues and see if you agree with me that it could benefit our city to an extent. As far as there's an effort to address gerrymandering in our state, and a lot of times we ask, well, how is it that our urban areas, our urban cores, are receiving less and less or fewer dollars every year? And it's what is being, or how the budget is being handled at the state level. And as far as gerrymandering, it could be explanation as to why we have seen that consistent deduction as far as urban areas, and are they adequately represented at the state level? So I know that there is an effort as far as addressing possible gerrymandering in the city, or excuse me, in the state. So maybe that's something that we should, as residents, look into and inquire into our state representatives as to what they feel about those two about that issue. Another legislation that is coming through pretty quickly is the ending driver's responsibility fees. And I'd like to thank the STARS for their efforts in providing public transportation to our residents. They're doing a fine job. But this driver responsibility fees has been saddling many of our residents as far as their inability to obtain a valid driver's license. So if this driver's responsibility fee does go away, and I believe there's discussion as far as forgiving thousands upon thousands of dollars as far as individual and fees, that will give that individual the ability to drive once again and possibly get that employment that may be too far to walk, or maybe outside of the area as far as where STARS are providing transportation. So I encourage our residents to look at that legislation and support it if you can, because maybe that will assist us in addressing our unemployment rate that is currently impacting our city. I just wanted to also thank the fire department. There was a few fires in the Old Town last week. I don't know if it was coincidence or just bad luck, but you guys were pretty professional in that, and I want to thank you for that, your service.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to briefly mention, not to steal the Public Works Director's thunder, but we're going to have a report on infrastructure tonight, as most of what our capital projects is about. People hear a lot about infrastructure in the news, and I just think in advance I'd like to say we're doing pretty well at trying to keep ours up to date. We're just looking at some of the major projects tonight, but every week, every day, we are working on either repairing or updating our infrastructure, public utilities in this town, and we're doing it on a very limited budget, but we're keeping up. So thanks for everyone who works on that for us. Capital projects also include things like the new fire engine we introduced this month that keep us up to date, and everything wears out over time, and when you're replacing 20-year-old equipment with brand new, it makes a difference. As Damon mentioned, we get out there, we have fires, so you have to have the equipment for it. And other than that, I think I'll pass on to the next member.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up at the City Council meeting this evening. I'd like to definitely thank the Delta Sigma Theta for all the good work that you guys do in our community. I know for a fact that it's not the only organization that you guys serve. And you know, it speaks in the Bible about service, and the best work we can do for God is to serve our fellow man. I appreciate you guys for doing that. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the pro bono guy who left here, so I'll just pass the thanks down to the other lawyers that we have sitting at the table. Thank you guys for the work that y'all do in our community too. It's amazing, the people that do the most volunteer work continue to do it. You know, so it must be something about that. The people that give the most is the ones that can give the most, I guess, because they do it all the time. I'm in the Big Brothers and Sisters program. I've been there for over 30 years. And I must admit that my little brother, I got one that's 17 years old, and he's kicking me to the curb, or he's dumping me, or he's moving on, he's getting grown or whatever, but he's working now. He got a car. He's involved in science projects in his school. He's being over the country and stuff, doing stuff, speaking on science and stuff. He's going to Milwaukee next year. And, I hate for us to leave, but it's time for him to go lead the nest, because he is a productive member of society, I would say. And I just got me another little brother. Yesterday we went out on our first date or what have you, and the guy's 10 years old, and he told me that he likes, find out some things about him. I asked, what do you like to eat? He said chicken and dressing and mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese, and I'm kind of scared now. But I'm sure we're going to get along and have some good times together, because my wife likes to cook too. So, but it seems like when I mentor these guys, it seems like I get just as much out of mentoring them as they get out of me. And I really love this program, and I implore anybody to get involved in the Big Brothers and Sisters program, because our community can really use it. This will be my 6th little brother, none of them had gotten any major troubles. And I know it got something to do with the program and me spending some time with them. It ain't about where we go or what we do, it's just spending time together. I mean, most of the time we can be doing yard work, and I pay them for that and stuff like that. Or we can just, if we having a picnic in my house, whatever me and my wife doing, that's what they doing. And it gives an opportunity to see a couple in a household is not having knockdown, drag-outs and stuff like that, because we have a small disagreement or something like that. Let us know the life study goes on. And so I appreciate the fact that God gave me the opportunity to serve a little guy like that. So I understand the service that y'all got to do, what it do for our community. So thank you again. Other than that, I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to extend some appreciation to the Saginaw Bar Association. They do phenomenal work. I know they're a big partner for Riverfront Beautification Day. They have for the last 4 or 5 years that I've been leading that project. So I just want to extend appreciation to them and to the Sisters of Delta Sigma Theta. Thank you guys so much for the work that you guys do in recognition of 50 years of being a chapter. I did a little research and found out that you guys have been around for over 104 years for an international sisterhood, and that in itself, in addition to being a local chapter for 50 years, is just completely outstanding. So thank you guys for that. I do want to extend my condolences to the family of Tom Webb and to the family of Reverend Dr. Rufus Bradley. Both of them were very good friends of mine, and they had a passion for our community. And both of them were visionaries. I think if you look at some of the work that is their legacy, like the Veterans Plaza, I serve on that board, and it's very detailed, and it definitely took someone with a vision. So my condolences I want to extend to the family of Tom Webb and Dr. Rufus Bradley. My gosh, what a man. What an amazing, amazing man, and truly a servant. If you go over there and look at some of the things that they've been able to do with that church. I sat in the same room and listened to him articulate some of his vision, and I tell you what, it was just inspiring. We've been friends for the last 4 years since I heard him speak. I had the privilege, I'm part of a fellowship with Michigan State University, Michigan Political Leadership Program, and we travel across the state. There's 25 of us, and this weekend we had the opportunity to be in Bay City. We were welcoming them to the Great Lakes Bay region, and I had to send them off with all kinds of stuff. Send them off with Saginaw swag. Let them know exactly what is going on here. Our community is more than just a headline that you hear, down to chip clips, pencils, and bottle openers, everything. And I want to thank some of those businesses like Covenant Healthcare, Mid-Michigan Waste Authority, and a few other ones who really bent over backwards while we were here and gave us some tours and gave us some items to take back with them all across the state. So it was great to have them here and be at home. We've been in Roscommon and Grand Rapids and all other communities, but they're coming here. They're coming to our home. So it was good to welcome that. We've seen some wind turbines with Consumers Energy and just all kinds of things. So it was great. And I had some family here. We rounded out the weekend yesterday at the Saginaw Spirit Game. I had some family from Midland and Freeland, Bay City, and Texas, and few years ago, they would have not even considered coming to downtown Saginaw, and it made my heart feel so good to welcome them here, because we usually travel there for things, but to have my family come here from all over the place, it was just great. Made me feel good. We're doing the right stuff. So that's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, citizens. I'd like to thank the lawyers, the Pro Bono Week, the lawyers who donate their time, and to the Delta sisters. You know I know what you do. I'd like to thank you for taking out your efforts at First Ward Community Center with the reading program that is so passionate to me. So I'd like to thank you for that. The last 2 weeks have been a busy week, as always. On the 10th, right after our last meeting, I went to the celebration with the fire department, and it was fabulous. It was something to behold. It was not just us adults there were children there as well. Children got honors for learning how to stop, drop, and roll. And that's something else, to stop, drop, and roll, you know. And so it was truly an excitement. After I left there, I had another engagement. I went to the Horizons to celebrate a new project coming to Saginaw, and it is a grieving process for young children. I plan to get involved with that because we have a lot of children who are grieving in more ways than one in the city. Then on Saturday, I represented the mayor at South 17th Church's excuse me, anniversary. Fabulous gala event. Red carpet, don't worry about it. Y'all, I'll be there on Saturday with you guys as well. But they had a phenomenal program. They talked about how the church started, where it started at, and it was just phenomenal. Then the following week, which was last week, oh no, I take that back, Saturday, I did something that I thought I could not do. I walked for breast cancer. And I mean, I walked and had fun walking. And so it was just a fabulous time. I got to meet a lot of citizens throughout the Saginaw County, and it was just exciting to see them. And you know, my trademark is dancing, so I hustled, I danced, and the kids just had a ball with me. So that was good. Then on Friday, I went to the Democratic Party dinner. I mean, the week is getting full. The week is getting full, and I'm excited. I'm having fun. And I think everybody else is having fun seeing us represent them. So all I can say is Saginaw is on the move. And I'd like to say to my cohort, who I'm so jealous of because he went to Japan and wouldn't let me get in his luggage. Mayor approached him and I begged him to get in his luggage and be a smuggler to go to Japan. I'd like to thank you for representing us, and I'm sure you did us fine. I had one more thing. I had the honor of speaking at Reverend Bradley's funeral. That was a tremendous, that was probably like the highlight of my whole week. To just be in the presence of somebody that was that powerful and to know him. And so I extended all condolences from all of the city council members and the city manager. His wife is greatly appreciative of us, and she is just a tremendous young lady. She told us at the funeral that the Lord he didn't just die, the Lord took him. She said that his journey was finished. I mean, that reminded me so much of Mary, when Mary said, it is finished. And so we all have to cross that road. And so I also like to send my condolences out to Tom Weber. He is a pillar, as well as Dr. Rufus Bradley, and I'm sure that we will be doing something at a later date. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
To our world traveler, international traveler.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to say welcome and good evening to everyone here and everyone watching on SGTV. And to
I think you say that in Japanese.
Ohio gozaimasu.
Okay. Very good.
And if you don't, if you think you know what I said, this will be interesting. Actually, it's a good morning, but In Japan right now, it would be morning. Now, to the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc., I too am familiar with the service work that organizations like yourselves do. It is tremendous. It is crucial to our city, to all our communities. As a 37-year member of Kiwanis, another service organization, there are many in town. They are crucial, and without them, so much would not get done. So thank you for all your service. I don't want to say too much about the proclamation for the Bar Association because I'm sort of on the receiving end. So, but thank you for that proclamation to the city as well. I did, some of you may have figured out by now, miss the last meeting here, but it's because, as the mayor said, I was traveling to Japan. I had the privilege of representing the city to our sister city, Tokushima, in Japan. One of the gifts they sent us, among several, was this traditional Japanese lantern, which we will go to the city's display. They were the most gracious and kind people I've ever known in how they treated us. The mayor's asked, and with the manager's indulgence, he's asked that I present a little bit of a program about our trip to maybe the next council meeting. And with the help of a couple of the delegation, there were 16 of us that went, I'm sure we can come up with 2, maybe 3 or 4 hours worth of presentation very easily. There's,
let us know ahead of time.
We could have a committee of the whole, we could do this right, It was a spectacular opportunity. I really appreciate the opportunity to represent the city. Tokushima showed us every privilege and honor that they possibly could have. So, and the food was really good too. so with that, I'll leave it at that. We'll present more at a later date.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And one more, I'm sorry. So with that, we'll go to Eddie Bennett.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'll start by thanking and congratulating the Delta Sigma Theta sorority ladies. I know a few of you individually, and as individuals, I know what kind of work you do. So collectively, I can only imagine the good that you have done in that 50 years. And I also want to say I was so struck by the line in the proclamation, over 300,000 college-educated women. That's just such a powerful thing. Nothing more powerful than an educated woman. So that is wonderful. And also thank you and to the Bar Association. I think that people don't realize how important it is to have access to adequate representation until you're faced with a situation, and most of us hopefully never encounter that situation, but people can't afford lawyers and bad things happen and they can't rectify them a lot of the time. So it's a wonderful and valuable service that they provide. Ms. Brenda, I have to thank you. In all of those events that you attended last week, you neglected to mention the Great Lakes Bay Health Luncheon that I was fortunate enough to be in attendance with Ms. Brenda. I didn't really know what to anticipate. It was my first time going, but the incredible personal stories of people right here in our community that they are helping, it's just incredible. And if you're looking for somewhere to make a contribution or to give back locally, I mean, this is a wonderful, wonderful organization. This is Jane Street. This is the Gomez Center. This is, countless other centers in town that, I used to go to the Gomez Center until I married a man with insurance who worked for, had employer-based insurance. So I've been a recipient of those services as well. And there are people here who would not have access to medical care if it weren't for the work that they were doing. So I thank you, Brenda, so much for bringing me, because I learned a lot that day. And I also, too, want to extend my condolences to Pastor Bradley's family. I did not know him the way my colleagues did, but I had the pleasure of meeting him. And first impressions, spoke a lot of him. He was a very kind, good, and decent person, and I'm sure that his loss will be felt for quite some time. And I have to mention Tom Webb as well. The loss of Tom is a very difficult one for myself. He was probably one of my mother's best friends for the last few decades, and it was a very special person to me personally, and I will miss him a great deal. And that's all I have.
Thank you, council members, and I will also echo their comments and thoughts, whether it's with the pro bono attorneys that help our citizens here, also our beautiful ladies in red. I can't imagine the amount of young girls and women that you have touched, and that will continue to grow and grow. And we just are so thankful for that in our community. For that, both Mr. Tom Webb and Dr. Bradley also touched many lives in our community and planted many seeds that we will see the fruits of those in many years to come. And so we're very thankful for that. I began as a school resource officer in 1975, and Mr. Tom Webb was one of the teachers at the North Intermediate School, and we worked many times with youth over the years, and then of course him sitting at the council table with me, sharing the council table, was quite a blessing. And so both those men are going to be greatly, greatly missed. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the Sister City celebration. I was unable to. But a year ago, we had a delegation from Tokushima come here, and then this just past week, the delegation from Saginaw, the Tea House, members of the Tea House board and friends, and then I was very, very honored that Mayor Pro Tem Floyd Clark and his wife were able to attend that and to represent us. It's here. It's a wonderful thing to have that relationship between these two countries and two cities. And so thank you very much. And we look forward to a shorter version than what you planned on. But we'd love to see some of the pictures and some of the stuff that took place there. They're a very ceremonial country, and their heritage they celebrate so well, and so we're going to certainly look forward to that. And last but not the only thing, of course, you know, I tend to embarrass people once in a while, so I shouldn't change anymore. I'd like to welcome the young lady from Reese High School. She's in the back there. She is a Reese Rocket, and she is here for current events. And she chose the City of Saginaw City Council meeting, and so we're really glad that anytime we have students coming to our council chambers and sitting in and listening, that's a great experience. So thank you for coming, and pass the word on with Saginaw. A great, great community. And before you leave, I do have a brochure here. I forgot to give you. I want to give you that brochure. So, with that ends our council remarks.
Very good. That takes us to reports from manager.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you. So just we do have one presentation tonight that was requested by a few council members for an update from Public Services. Just a few items before that. Thursday is the Citywide neighborhood meeting hosted by Chief Ruth, and it will be at the Southwest Neighborhood Association this Thursday, October 26th at 5:30 at the Beacon of Hope Church on 21 Michigan Avenue, 2109 West Michigan Avenue. Also, would update council and let you know that Vicki Davis and Brandon Duvall from Technical Services are working on putting together the mission and vision statement layout for the website. They have a good draft, and we did show the mayor this morning, so we should get that live within the next week or so on the website, and I think we're planning to have it on the home page right when you open it up. So we'll have that done soon. I would also congratulate the fire awards winners, and especially firefighter Chedrick Green, Firefighter of the Year award this year. He's done a lot with youth, so I think that's a great ideas that he's had with the DICE program, and he's also working on the Explorer program, along with a lot of the other firefighters and Chief Van Loo at the fire department. The pollinator project, we can definitely have the Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy do an update for council at one of the upcoming meetings. They're working on a lot of projects in the city of Saginaw, so I think they'd like to update you more on more than just the pollinator projects. They've worked on the Janet Nash Park on the riverfront. They've worked with the Saginaw Zoo, and they're also working on pollinator projects. And we have Phil Carwatt has gotten some other projects that we may move forward with the Conservancy. I'd mentioned the which I say quite frequently is that, and you see from Resolution 1 tonight with the properties, a lot of these properties that that have become an issue are not properties that the city wanted or the land bank really wanted. These properties are being received by the local unit of government due to tax reversion and other issues. But the Saginaw County Land Bank is helping to fund the pollinator project. They've provided $35,000 annually for the pollinator project to transform some of these lots. Also, we have a lot of foundations that are funding that. Councilman Humphreys has been working on that as well. Also wanted to mention that when the Development Department and particularly the Inspections Division came up with Scenic, I don't know if many of you recall, but they went around the state talking about the program because it did get a lot of press and it was very successful. Well, they just recently gave a presentation to a neighborhood association in Flint about code enforcement and what we do here and what Scenic does. So I wanted to congratulate them for the continued work and let you all know that they were referred to Flint by someone outside of the city. Another resident who knows what they do from, I believe, Saginaw Township said you should talk to Saginaw about the way they handle code enforcement. I've also received calls before from other cities about how we deal with code enforcement, so I wanted to give that congratulations to John Stemple and his staff for the work they've done with Scenic and have continued to do work long after the initial glow of that program has gone. And finally, another event that I know that that Councilwoman Moore attended but didn't mention, I think the mayor attended as well, is the Saginaw County Chamber of Commerce Leadership Awards on Friday. And I bring that up just because I noticed that there are 5 primary awards there, and a number of them were for projects and people involved in the city of Saginaw. John Markey received the Dr. Samuel H. Shaheen Vision of Free Enterprise Award. And you all know John. He is on the DDA, and his business is located right on Washington, down the street from us. So a lot of it is focused on his community involvement. And Lamar Woodley received the Spirit of Saginaw Award, and one of the projects they talked about is the project that he had worked on with the city for the Civitan that they're currently under construction. Larry Sims, who is the relatively new CEO of United Way Saginaw, received Community Impact Award, and that's here in downtown. The Wirt Rivette Group received the Outstanding Small Business Award, and they are located on State Street. And final one was Mike Bierlein received the Robert H. Albert Lifetime Community Service Award, and that isn't in the city, but he did grow up in the city, he mentioned, and he'll always be a Saginaw guy, and they do a lot of work in the city as well. So I wanted to mention those awards that were presented on Friday. So with that, we have a presentation for you that's been prepared by Phil Carwatt and Kim Mason. Oh, had a question? Yeah.
Trying to limit what they were doing for the city. I just know that vacant property has been an issue for our city for a few years now. And I believe there was a TV news clip where some of our residents were concerned about some of the overgrown lots. And so I know the pollinator project, I don't know if it's necessarily a substitute for the clover project, but the idea was to cover some of the same issues. So I guess the bigger issue that I was looking or hoping that you would consider an update as far as the vacant lots and how we were addressing that and what impact, if any, the pollinator project was doing on.
Well, I mean, we can do did a few years ago, but it's, again, it's really not plausible to think of mowing those lots on a frequent basis. So clover was something that is, I think it is even in the bid specs now. You can debate how successful it is. Pollinator project is a little bit more unique and does fall in line with the way a lot of other communities are dealing with this. That is really the newest thing that is being done. I won't necessarily say that we're doing it or the land bank is doing it. It's the Conservancy had the idea, but they are seeking funding. I believe the first year of funding total was about $80,000, I recall, and that's what they were trying to put together for a second year. So they can do a number of lots, but you see from the list how much this increases every year, so it's difficult to keep doing that. But I think one of the things that we're looking at and they're looking at and the county's looking at is doing projects like this where you can have the largest impact. So definitely we can bring them back and probably put some more information together for you. But that's really the newest thing that we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it appears that the city is making some progress, and we didn't have too many bills come to city council with that concern. So I guess I was just seeing what was the city doing in addressing that. That's all going forward for a bigger issue.
Yeah, we can put something together. I'll say you have to give it to some of the neighborhood groups are doing things as well. 1 week, 1 street, and the pastors that are involved in that, they have projects that are mowing projects that go beyond the 1 week. And also Terry Collier, who works here at the city, does the Show Us Your Lawnmower mowing project that I think they do almost every weekend in the summer. So there are a number of projects similar to a lot of the Adopt a Park projects that we have for other people working on these lots, which I think is pretty helpful as well. So Phil is going to be the primary presenter here. So Mayor Pro Tem, Phil's going to set the bar on the upcoming presentation lengths. Yes.
Evening. I don't know if this thing's on. I don't know if this is on, and you probably don't need this to hear me anyway, but good evening, everyone. For guests that don't know me, I'm Phil Carwatt, Public Services Director for the City of Saginaw, and got to wait for my presentation to come up here. But anyway, as Mr. Manager stated a couple weeks ago at one of the council meetings, I think, actually through some of the last several meetings, there's been some comments on infrastructure or capital improvement projects. I guess positive comments. So one of the council members asked, hey, it might be a good idea if we could give a presentation at an upcoming meeting just to kind of show you, this isn't all the projects, but for 2017 construction year, this is going to be a majority of the large projects, and obviously anything over $2,000 has to come in front of City Council. So everything you're going to see here tonight, you've probably already seen in the form of a council communication or a request to move forward with the project. And it's going to be a combination of the Public Service Department projects and also the water and wastewater treatment plant, because pretty much on everything we do,
because we both utilize the, you know, the water and sewer funds and different things, and all contracts have to run through the engineering section of the right-of-way division. So Kim and I work really good together on most all of these projects. So it's going to be a joint presentation. With that said, the first series of projects, or the first series of slides you're going to see, are mostly the projects that have either some type of federal surface transportation funds or Act 51 funds is going to be the majority of the dollars spent on these projects. However, if we do some water main improvements or some sewer improvements or whatever, there could be some of the water and sewer funds as well. But for sake of time, I didn't break this all down into that detail. Most of that information was explained in a previous council communication. So one of the first major projects that we got completed this year that was much needed was, and it was a restoration project. It wasn't truly a reconstruction. Most of our projects now, as you can see, aren't truly, I've talked before about costs, how it costs to reconstruct a road versus try to rehabilitate or restore it. So some of these have a little bit of both. You know, for instance, Williamson Street from Thayer to Trainer, $2.4 million cost, which was completed this summer. And you can see, and I'm not going to read through all the details, but you know, some of it was an asphalt mill and resurface, some concrete pavement repairs, and if you've driven that stretch of road since we've opened it, I think you can kind of tell where there may be a full reconstruct or more of a restoration on that. So, but I think it was a very successful project. Another project completed this summer was Vets Memorial Parkway, Wadsworth to Washington Avenue, 0.93 miles of road rehabilitation. So when you see that word rehabilitation, it's a combination of reconstruct, you know, restoration type. Concrete pavement repairs. We did do some water main replacement out there, and the cost of that project was $1.25 million. Again, not to scare you, but I didn't break this down, but all of that money is not, you know, and from what I can tell, none of it's general fund dollars. It's all going to be gas and weight, the money that we get from the state through the license plate and the gas tax and federal surface transportation funds and different funds of that sort. The next project, Brockway Street from Passolt to Gratiot, 1.08 miles of road rehabilitation and a cost of about $655,000. And that was open to traffic in September. Now, all this work is work that's contracted out. So, you know, this is work that we bid, and we got to follow state standards and different stuff like that because it does have federal or state dollars tied to it. Next project is South Jefferson Avenue. From Janes Avenue to East Genesee Avenue in downtown. It's 0.14 miles of road rehabilitation, mostly a mill and pave. And the estimate on that, or the cost, was right around $170,000. Another street we did this year was Prescott Street from Morris to Hiland, about 0.11 miles of length and a cost of $165,000. And then we did do, it was kind of towards the end of, it was very late in the season, or of the fiscal year actually. We had some monies that were unrecognized as far as being spent, and I think it was fiscal year 16. So we put a quick mill and pave project together that was bid through the city and done by a local contractor. And you can see the different, it wasn't just one area, you know, there was, and I think you guys can see the impact if anybody's had the chance to drive Mason Street. I mean, for the most part, Mason from Brockway all the way to Weiss is in decent shape other than that 2 blocks that was down by Genesee and State. So that's just one example of, you know, milling and paving a road, the type of surface you can get. And if we maintain these roads, you should be able to get at least another 10 to 15 years, hopefully, of the surface with proper maintenance. Of an overall cost of $212,000 for them several projects. All right, then we're going to get into the street section. Fortunately, the last couple of years with the increase in the gas and weight money, the little bit that we've been getting that I think you guys have seen in prior presentations, our actual streets department has been able to get out and do some work that we haven't had been able to years prior. So the next couple slides are the work that our streets department actually did with in-house staff, and then some of the council communications you approve, whether it be for asphalt purchase or concrete purchase. Them materials are used by our employees to do this different type of work. So when I've been coming to you needing to increase, it's because they've been doing a lot more, you know, in-house projects where years past we haven't been able to. So these are just some concrete repairs we did. And then it's listing some of the streets with the length of the roads that we have completed. Here's some asphalt road resurfacing that's been performed by city crews. 15th Street, 0.37 miles, Cherry Street, and then I'll let you know that I know because it's been some individuals who live down in the that Martin Luther King Roberson Street area that basically the pavement was gone. Our city crews were able to go down there. I think it was within the last month to two, and pave that whole back section of that. That turned out really nice. So that was just right around 0.22 miles. And then some more patch areas, not full-length roads, but we've been able to go out and do some work on Hardin Street and Weber Street. All right, now some of the projects are getting away from the engineering and street side, but on the maintenance and service and water treatment and wastewater treatment side. I'm sure everybody's aware of this project. I don't know if you get out by Saginaw Valley much, but this has been a couple, 3 years in the making, and I believe it was a large bond project, but basically we had to install some parallel raw and transmission water mains, roughly the total length of all the mains varying in diameter from 48 to 16 inches, over 22,000, almost 23,000 feet, but we're pretty close to completion on that project. Plus there was also some work that was required to be completed on the Kochville Reservoir. Basically, it's a raw water storage. I think there's 120 million gallons worth of raw water storage in the reservoirs there, that if we have a system or a situation with our main line, we'll be able to draw water from that. So there hasn't been a lot of work done out there in many years, so we did a lot of that as part of this project. So basically, the next couple slides are just going to be an aerial view of that, and the yellow lines are a depiction of the mains that we put in, the water mains as part of that project. And then these slides are just some pictures of the actual work, because I'm sure nobody's made it out right into the trenches. But as you can see, the photo on the left is some of the piping coming out of the raw water reservoir that needed some work on it. And then the upper right one is some of the completion in the areas that were disturbed on the banks of them. And then the bottom right is just some of the bigger pipe, being put in the ground. I had to share this one not only because of the type of structures and that going in, but the sky on that night was just beautiful. So the contractors at times were working over 24 hours to do some of this work because it was critical we had to do shutdowns with our staff, and because we didn't have any pressure issues out there with our water, a lot of this work had to start Fridays at 5 and get, go until it's, we can get our water back in service. So contractors are doing a great job on that. Another project under Kim's watch, Kim and Paul Reinsch, was a water treatment plant masonry project. That was a low bid project to R.C. Hendrick and Sons. The final cost on that is just under $1 million at $989,000. But basically, the water treatment plant in several areas had some deteriorated mortar joints. I think you guys, if you've driven by, might have seen the work going on with the scaffolding and that at the plant. There was some work required at a couple of our booster stations, and some of our finished water pumps, pump bases, as you'll see in some of these photos, were deteriorated. And they're very heavy, so we had to do some repairs on the pump bases. So here's a picture showing that, if you can see the deterioration on some of them concrete bases that support them pumps. Photo on the left's one being under construction, and then on the right's a finished. And then here's just a photo of the plant with some of the scaffolding that you've seen probably this summer with some of the repair work going on the masonry tower. And then here's just an up-close photo of, if you can see in some of them joints on the brick to the upper left, the deterioration that was actually in some of that brickwork. And then on the bottom would be the more of a finished product. And then the final large capital project would be a generator install at the Weiss Street retention and treatment basin. Basically, it was installation of a 1,000 kilowatt backup generator. Total cost of $370,420. It is one of 7 CSO or treatment basins that we do have. I think within the next couple years, or in fiscal year 2020, we're going to be looking at doing another generator project at 14th Street with an estimated cost of about $440,000. And with that, if there's any questions or comments, but that for the most part, there's a lot of other projects, but that's some of the bigger ticketed items that.
Councilman Michael Wolf.
Come out of the water funds, the generator that's installed, that come out of the water funds?
That would have been wastewater, because that was a CSO, combined sewer. Okay. I believe that's Yeah, that's the sewer fund, so that would
Okay.
come out of the,
Okay. Do we use water towers for our pressure or just pumps to keep our pressure in our
in city,
line?
we utilize pumps. Some of the outlying customers do have,
Yeah, just a few of them have towers.
towers.
And we do pump, there are pump stations throughout.
I was just wondering if we had a tower would help our pressure system out any of just rely on the pumps. I was just curious.
Come on, Kim.
You didn't have to come, Kim.
My stuff's easy, Kim.
Actually, we rely on generators because in the city we have no storage available, and it's one of the projects that we're looking at in the future, whether we go ahead and replace those generators at a considerable cost, or do we go to some towers.
Right.
And there would be other reasons why towers may actually help us. One of them being that we've been looking at disinfection byproducts, and with the tower, it would allow us to do various types of mechanical aeration that may help bring our numbers down
Right.
some. So there are some benefits to going to that, but right now we just rely on our generators.
Okay. I was just curious because I thought that towers would help us out better too. I noticed you ordered a couple of diaphragm pumps, like $48,000 or something like that. Those dual diaphragm pumps.
Yes,
I was wondering what size are those.
I don't have that information with me offhand.
Okay. Okay. And for you, Mr. Carwatt, we really appreciate the fact that you are getting a lot of roads fixed. Did we fix more this year than we normally fix?
I'd say so, yes. Yeah, the projects, I think with that additional funding coming forward, we were able to put more of that into our street. So yes, this is, I mean, I've been here for 17 or 18 years, and I think we've had some larger scale Genesee street streetscape reconstruction,
Right.
but as far as getting throughout the city and making an impact, I'd say that yes, this has been the most successful or most impactful year that at least that I've been here in the 17, 18 years.
Could we expect more funds like that next year?
I hope so. It's the federal STU funds are shared funds that we get through the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, and I don't have that information in front of me, but yeah, I think we could expect to see, on average, what you've seen this year and hopefully more in years to come, because I think if everybody can remember that presentation on what we're supposed to get we're supposed to go from about, don't quote me, but I think it was about $4.5 to $5 million of Act 51 money to just over $7 million by year 2021. So if we get that, you will see that for the most part. I'm not planning on increasing staffing or, right now anything like that. I mean, but if the work comes in, there may be, if we're doing more work, we might need more bodies to be able to put out them kind of projects. But I'm hoping a majority of that money could go right into the improving the roads.
I just wanted to know, in case I get to bragging about that the Saginaw is coming to a road near you to fix soon, that you're really going to be showing up.
Don't promise that.
All right, okay.
We're coming, but there's 300 miles of them. So.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Is this improvement that you're doing, is that on the back side of the park in Kochville?
That would be on the east side of the park. Yeah, so if you're talking about the Kochville Park,
Right.
yeah, we're east. We'd be just east of that.
Well,
But
we
it's going
walk-
from Troutner to Pierce. It's pretty much, most of it's about a quarter mile west of Davis Road, because when we were going through the whole preliminary, it would have been, there was a huge drain there, a county drain that we had to relocate and get a bunch of property along Davis Road. So what we did is the Kochville Reservoir where these pipes had to go is already about a quarter mile west of Davis. So if you can remember when we brought some property purchases and purchase of easements about a year and a half ago, that we got a lot of real estate to move that main a quarter mile west of Davis Road, which works out best for the city.
Okay, I asked because when we were doing the breast cancer walk, I think that's what we passed.
Yep, you did.
Okay, because a lot of the young people wanted to know, and I encouraged them to contact Ms. Kim for a tour of the facility so that they could get to see how water was made and to assure them that the water that they were drinking was good water. So thank you so much.
Go ahead, Councilman Mill.
Thank you, Mr. Carwatt, for a very good presentation. This is the kind of thing that I think shows we wisely spend money.
Thank you.
follow up. I've seen a lot of these projects, all the way from Brockway to Williamson, and even though it's only a small amount of that 300 miles of road you've talked about, it is a start, and it's good to see. And I really appreciate that you and Kim have been able, well, Kim with the work and your engineering department, Beth, to try and put this project together, especially the one where the last minute one. I mean, that was
Yeah.
that was really that got a lot done and in a short time.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed with everything I've seen and how it's come out. So
Yeah.
keep it up. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Phil, my question on Roberson Street. I know the street was in terrible condition, pretty bad, but also drainage was an issue. Have we addressed the drainage? Do you
Yeah,
think
we
this
had,
will do both?
yep, we had actually a couple structures that were buried that we I think you can actually, if
I can see a catch basin
Yeah, if I can
there.
get back to it.
Right there.
You see how we kind of put the asphalt, I mean, there's no curb and gutter, and
Right.
there's actually
Yeah,
no
there's-
gravel shoulder, because I know a lot of them owners wouldn't want to have a 4 or 6 foot shoulder like you'd see on a more rural county road, but we did some improvements, and basically some of these, they had so much from debris over the years that, we couldn't even see them, so I know it was
Okay.
just holding pond and
Fair
water and creating base,
Oh, that'd be good.
damaged base over there, which led to some of the deterioration
Yeah.
of the street. So, yeah,
Okay.
we're hoping that we address that.
Very nice. That's going to be very nice. Okay, Councilman? Yeah, go ahead.
Would curbs help that out better? Would help with the
No, not
keeping the
necessarily.
water inside the cover so that it won't go?
Not necessarily. I mean, as long as you can see, I mean, most of the grade is higher than the road. I mean, curbs probably would help it. Most of the time on a county road, you'll see swale ditches, and that's kind of, the main thing is just getting the water away from the road, so. But curbs are expensive to put in too, so. I don't think in this case that it would be, I think this is just less than 1,000 foot of road, and I think it's 30 or 40 bucks a foot to put in curbs. So we didn't have the money to do it because we didn't contract this out. We actually just did this with city crews with our own paver.
Okay.
So I think we have $25,000, maybe $30,000 worth of asphalt, and other than that, it was just our crew's labor. So we didn't have the money to do any curb and gutter, but, as long as you got the catch basins and a way to get the water out away from the road, you'll be.
Okay.
The main thing is trying to get sand and edge drain and everything under the road to drain the base, which 99% of our roads don't have that anyway because it's just so costly. But that's the main thing, is keeping the water from getting under there and saturating that clay.
Okay. Phil, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil and Kim. If to mention too that they both have very good staffs, and I know that they both consult their foremen and their plant managers quite a bit on these projects, and they all have great ideas. So I think I got to give a lot of credit to Phil and Kim and their staffs for thinking of new ways to do these projects, and I think we have been getting more done, and at least with the same amount of money. We have had slight increases in streets, but we have been, I think, doing more street projects by utilizing our staff, and that's through Phil and his foreman working on that. So with that, that concludes the management update.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, we are now at the consent agenda.
And the agenda has been available at City Hall and on the city's website and on SGTV Channel 191. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda items, leaving room for exceptions. Been moved and supported. Are there any exceptions? I'm sorry? Councilman Tibbs, two? Are there any other exceptions? Any other exceptions? Being none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk?
Exception item number 2, approve the agreement for professional services with Attorney Daniel G. Collison of Collison & Collison PC. Councilman Tibbs.
Well, thank the city staff for getting back to me about my question about item number 2. I guess my concern was a fundamental issue. I don't see how it changed much from the previous ordinance or the language, except that rather than an employee reviewing these hearing issues, such as when you're shutting down a business or things of that sort, we're hiring a subcontractor that we're hiring and paying. So I don't know, there's some distance there between the city and the person who will be the trier of fact. I guess I'm just comparing it to the legal system where it's a random drawing with a judge, or if it's a mediator. It's been a while since I did civil law, but I believe each party gets to choose or have some selection in the process or some input in the process as far as who's going to serve mediator. So, I mean, I have no issue with Mr. Collison. He's a fine individual, but I guess as far as fundamentally, I just have some concerns. I don't know if this is the answer, so I guess for me, I'll be voting no on that.
This isn't the legal system. It's a hearing that is set up via ordinance. So we did modify the ordinance to change it in this way. And primarily, in my view, the reason was the experience in administering a hearing. That was my only concern. So that's why we modified the ordinance, and that's why we're having a professional firm do it. We're looking at a few other individuals that could possibly do this as well. So we have kind of options based upon availability, but that's the primary reason why we changed it.
So, do we need a motion on number 2? What do we, who has to make the motion? Anyone? Number 2, then moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Is it roll call required? Yep, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Councilmember Moore. Yes. Councilmember Bryant. Councilmember Balls. Councilmember Humphries is absent. Councilmember Milne. Councilmember Tibbs. Mayor Browning. Aye. We have 7 yes votes and 1 no. And with that, Mayor, our next order of business is reports from boards, commissions, and committees, and appointment of board and commission members.
Council members have any verbal report that you would like to do on any of the boards or commissions that you are on within reason? I can give a report. No? If you'd like to, go ahead. If not, okay. All right, we need a motion to approve the 2 appointments for tonight. One is the mayoral appointment of James Graham to the Saginaw Economic Development Corporation, and the second one is for the mayoral reappointment of Ronald Wheatley to the Housing Board of Appeals. Been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Our next order of business is resolution. We have one this evening. It's objecting to the transfer of tax reverted properties from Saginaw County.
I need a motion to adopt. Been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
You are now at motions and miscellaneous business.
Council members, do you have anything else to come before this council board? Councilwoman Brenda Moore.
Make an announcement for those listening at home and in the chambers. On the 28th, which is Saturday, Lamar Woodley is having a Halloween party at the Dow Event Center. Admission is free for children under 12, $2 for adults. I forgot to get that in. Thank you.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, we're adjourned.